All right, 5 o'clock on a Monday. You know what time it is. It's time to hit the books. Part of the Hammer Betting Network, sponsored by FanDuel. Alongside the man, the myth, the legend himself, Joey Knish. I'm merely Brad Powers. We also have Mr. Unnamed Producer behind the controls. Before we get to your questions, comments, concerns on the upcoming 2025 college football season, let's always pay the bills. Hey, they got a fresh contract for us. We got to give them their props. And I'd be giving them props even if they weren't a sponsor, because it might be the offseason, but if you want to bet on college football futures, you know there's a one-stop shop. It's FanDuel. It's the place to go. Whether you're talking win totals, they were first to market. National championship odds, Heisman odds, week one lines, they're first to market. They're first to market on a lot of things. You can bet the playoffs, make or miss. You name it, they got it up there as far as college football offseason betting. FanDuel, and right now, you new customers can get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. All you got to do is place any $5. That's $5, $5 foot long. $5 bet, and you'll get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. What you need to do, visit FanDuel.com/hitthebooks. Download America's #1 sportsbook. That's FanDuel.com/hitthebooks. Disclaimer, you must be 21 plus and present in select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued is a non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE New York, or text HOPE New York in New York. Well, Knish, how was your week? We'll be talking a lot of things because in your realm of the world, your other podcasts, there's never a slow day.
Never a slow day. New member on the crew coming up Thursday. I don't even know, the curtain's so tight around this place. I don't even know who it is. So we'll have to be on the lookout for that. See who's coming up for the new circle. But I actually missed last week too. But I will be back for the Friday show, the A-Team, and we'll have a new panelist this week ready to go. And you know what? I can start to feel it, starting to taste it a little bit. A friend of the show is pitching a tent, starting to fire out some plays coming up this week. And it's what do we got? 9 Saturdays in total.
Yeah, 9. Not
so
too bad.
Both of us here in the Midwest, now it finally feels like we're getting close.
Feels like the middle of summer, bud.
Well, let me say, it feels like it's 150 fucking degrees outside right now. I walk outside of my house and I feel like I'm gonna melt. So yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, obviously, friend of the program, market influencer, tailgate tent started releasing today. I know people probably ask questions about it. I'm not gonna steal his thunder, but I will say I'd already bet all 3 earlier this offseason. So he asked me. I said I agree all 3. There you go. So appreciate that. Not much news. I mean, you know me. I'm a fan. A lot of recruiting stuff. The next 2 weeks are big time recruiting weeks.
Yeah,
because obviously in July is the one time where the coaches take a true vacation, where they'll take a week or maybe 2 off. So recruiting the next couple of weeks, then the vacation, then we're there. Then we're talking about camp. So that's where we're at. As far as a show, we'll start off the conference previews. If not next week, the week after, as far as 4th of July, we'll break it down. So that's what we'll
anything caught your eye? I will say your boys, the Domers, very, very, very impressive on the recruiting trail. So they're starting to build, so cycle after cycle, where they were kind of a perennial, it's like maybe in that 10 to 15 range. Sometimes they'd break in the 10, 5 and 10. Now they're gunning for a top 5 cycle this year. Also USC with some early juice on the recruiting trail coming. I don't know. Maybe they've gotten the NIL right going there.
From all intents and purposes, they do. They've also really made a focus on California. I mean, come on, you don't have to be Einstein to figure that out. I mean, where's that been the last decade, to focus on your surrounding area? So far so good there. I mean, I am a buyer SC this year. I bet over their win total. So we'll see. Yeah, recruiting's not everything, but a lot of times it can be a leading indicator of the health of your program. So, but big couple weeks there. Michigan looks like they're going to heat up this week with some commitments. I do follow your Wolverines.
Yep, I will say they had a little bit of a
pick up.
Yeah, slower start to the cycle. Seems like things are finally getting trending in a good direction there. I noticed also, in the top 10, you've got your Georgia, your Ohio State, your Texas, your people that you're going to be there. UCLA early, and then again, very early in the cycle, but that one's kind of a little bit of a shocker to kind of see some early juice, and a couple
Illinois.
other pros that I'm sure will kind of fade back as the cycle goes on, but some early juice from Rutgers too, Minnesota,
Illinois.
Yeah, Illinois. Yeah, so a couple of programs that at least, hey, you might not finish there, but if you can set yourself up, first half of the cycle, especially when you're that type of program, when you're Alabama under Saban, you can close on anybody at the end of the cycle, then you don't care about this. When you're Minnesota, when you're Rutgers, when you're Illinois, I think getting some guys, I'm not going to say you have to get your class completed, but first half of the cycle, if you can get 15, 20 guys, have a solid class, and then just, hand pick some recruitments on the final, the final 6 months or so, 3 months to focus on, I like that strategy.
I think a lot of people are in that boat now. You want 15, 20 guys in. I mean, I think the kids want it because they want to focus on their final year of school. Also, there's NIL deals being signed. So kind of protect yourself if you get hurt during your senior year. So I would want to get something signed before that. And I mean, I would say 75, 80% of recruiting is done by the end of July heading into the season. I mean, the only thing you'll get is flips a little bit. And then a lot of it's just dependent on, if your season goes as planned, you're not going to see much movement, in my opinion. Obviously at the top, the 5 stars are going to hold out for the most money.
Yeah.
But the only other movement we get is if there's a coaching change, guys get fired and stuff like that, and you go poach the rosters. But there's recruiting. There you go for you fans.
You got an early, just to one more in. You got an early fave kid in the class. Early.
I like I haven't watched a ton of film. I like the kid that Michigan got, the Vallejo kid, the defensive lineman out of Texas.
There's some Mason
kind of
Graham
a Mason Graham
thrown out there.
Mason Graham would be maybe his. That's who I'd say he kind of reminds me of a little bit. So there's that. Let me watch a little bit more. I used to watch a lot, but now I wait until they actually sign on the dot, so I know what school they're going to and what kind of system they're going to be in. So I kind of wait. I usually do a lot of that in January.
Yeah, I will. I mean, number 2 ranked player right now committed to Maryland. Number 3 ranked player committed to Houston. So I mean, there's some schools out there now that everybody can throw a bag around if you want to. That make it a little. I said one guy, that Tristan Keys, wide receiver, who's the number 1 wide receiver going to LSU. Kind of seems like the next guy in line at LSU that's going to be elite. Pulled him out of Mississippi, so I like him quite a bit. But they've got. It's interesting now. A couple of big timers at the top going to some rando schools that I think pre-NIL would have never had a chance.
Yeah, I think the Houston kid's legit. He actually competed in a couple of the All-American games last year. They started to welcome juniors. So I got a chance to see him. So by all intents and purposes, it looks like he's locked in there. Good for Houston.
Yeah.
The other kid, man, we could do a whole recruiting show. That's how much I follow recruiting. Dia Bell won the Elite 11. Elite 11's, a big quarterback. I mean, the quarterback off-season camp. So that's good for him. He's going to Texas. He might be the next thing after Arch plays a year or two. Dia Bell is a name to know as far as quarterback at Texas. So, there you go. Recruiting news. Let's get to the chat. I'm sure they're waiting on a few things. We'll start at the top. Fabulous one. Florida Gators over under wins 6.5. Conference wins 3.5. Where are you seeing conference wins? I haven't even seen that. My SEC sleeper, possibly. What say you? Have I seen? Where have conference wins at? Have you seen conference wins?
I think at a book we won't mention on this show.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we can't mention. I do see that now. Huh. Well, now I know what I'm going to be doing after the show. I wonder when those got posted. Interesting. It seems right. They'll be favored. I mean, I'm just doing simple. I bet over 6.5. As far as the conference wins, I'd prefer 6.5 over that than the conference, because conference makes sense. They're at Miami, which will be an underdog in, although I bet them in that game. Florida State, they'll be a big favorite. South Florida, big favorite against the FCS schools. So that seems right. What do you think about Florida? The only worry I have is, I mentioned this a few shows ago, very quietly out of nowhere, there was a quarterback, procedure done on DJ Lagway late in the spring.
Yep.
That would be my hang up there. So I definitely wouldn't bet it. I know it's 7.5 at a lot of books now. I would not be betting over 7.5. I can tell you that. I just played an early number. I think they're a 7-5 football team.
I agree. This one, I think the margin here is razor thin. To me, if you want to talk to me, I wouldn't blame anybody for taking over 6.5, under 7.5, or that type of. Obviously, depending on what juice you're getting, but you have to love what they're bringing back and the roster and kind of the way. I mean, even last year when everyone was predicting Napier was in the dirt, buried, fire them, that they were competitive most weeks, weekend, kind of exceeded expectations, but. I don't know who, they need to fire whatever AD put the schedule together, 8 years ago. It's kind of a nonstop, but hey, this is kind of the SEC now. It's almost a little bit of their own doing what they put together. But when you add Miami and Florida State to you cannot. And people are going to be like, oh, Joey K has gone soft in his old age. If you're going to play in the Big Ten or the SEC, you cannot schedule 2 real deal non-con games anymore. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm not scheduling. I don't give a shit about the fan experience or your home tickets. I'm scheduling fucking Missouri State or some bum to come in, Central Michigan, to get slaughtered. I'm not playing because it's now we want to play Miami and Florida State every year and 8 SEC games when we get the rough draw in the SEC. What the fuck are we talking? How are we supposed to how are we ever going to go to the playoff? We got to win beat 8 good teams, real good teams.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I got Florida 15th. When I said I think they're 7-5, I still got them 15th in my power ratings. But that's how tough the schedule is. I don't know if you can make the fan base isn't going to like 7-5, but the reality is. They're a pretty good football team at 7-5. You put them, you give them a weaker schedule, 9-3, and they can be competing for a playoff berth. But I play Florida State and be done with it. I don't know. I mean, the fans are fired up. Miami. Speaking of that Miami line, I'm jumping down.
Yeah,
X is his favorite game of the year line so far is the Gators plus 5.5 against Miami. Hard Rock already a very low home field advantage for this game. There's a chance it's more Gators than Canes fans. 5.5, way too many. I was a higher number. I can tell you that. Yeah. So OBP bet that one. I only bet 10 of them, and that was one of them. So I totally agree, Egg. If you can get your hands on that one, we won't name the book, but that's a good bet to be made.
Yeah, I agree.
We'd best bet it if it was more widely available. And if our friends at FanDuel, it's time for the friends at FanDuel to put up some game of the year lines.
Yeah, we need to leverage them into some game of years. I agree. And I agree with the lean there.
Yeah, I don't think there's much separating the two teams, and I think Egg's got the handicap. You can't give full. There'll be a lot of Florida fans there. Austin M in the chat. You know what? No, hold on. Let's go to the top. I was looking at the live. Chris Miller, expected win, stat based, win loss, conference champ, power rating, Vegas lines, win margin, ATS margin, strength of schedule. What's he? I don't. Long question one. When building a college football resume rating or play a most deserving rating, man, sorry. I'm like Ron Burgundy. I mean, I'm just reading the. How would you rank the following factors? Is there anything else missing from the list you would add? Oh my God. When building a power rating, a resume rating, man, I know they don't use. Vegas has nothing to do with it. I mean, if I'm building it, yeah, I mean, ATS margin, all that's in there. I can't think of anything else. I mean, do you think of anything else?
No, I said when I would do my stuff, I don't know how this will, Chris, totally answer your question, but I would have kind of a set of we'll call them power ratings of my own, what I, build it, kind of normally build by position group, coaching, weighting, all that. Yeah. And then during the season would do what you would call a market rate of what I think the actual line, what, more of a Vegas ratings of what the market is kind of rating these teams and then differentiate between the two. I think you got, it's kind of like, I agree with all the stuff you put in there from a resume builder. I guess my question would be like, in the end, what are you trying to like extract out of it? That are you trying to get a market number that's as close as possible to what you think it's going to be? Are you trying to basically get, your line as sharp as it's going to be, win expectancy in that? So I think you got a lot of like good core things in there. Your question for me would just be
he can follow it up, but
yeah.
Is he trying to come up with like a model for betting like make or miss playoffs? And bet that market? I'm not sure on that. But I mean, everything I said is what should be should be in front of the committee when they're evaluating teams. I can tell you that. He didn't miss anything there. Interesting question though. I'm sorry that I jumbled it. Step on a duck, super chat, $4.99. Joey K MVP, let's go. 60 days until kick. Enjoy your work. Still some value in the win total market, if you can believe that. I agree with that. So obviously, Tent agrees with that. He released 3. I think I'm in the tout service for me. I'll release 2 or 3 tomorrow. So yeah, there's still plenty. There'll be injuries during fall camp.
Yep.
So that'll be at the time. Fade market moves. If you just aren't buying a team, I mean, I think there'll be some teams that probably get too much love. For example, like in Illinois, maybe gets too much love where, their win total I see is creeping up to like 8.5. I mean, for them to go 9-3, I mean, that's expecting a lot. So, yeah. So
I agree.
We'll be talking. I bet win totals all the way up until kick.
I agree. And sometimes I think you get your early wave of guys like the Duck himself, yourself, that go in early. And then you get, maybe some news stuff and then a little bit of a lull now. Like we're in that summer. Doesn't mean there's not any, value on the board left. But usually the guys that I know that are really going to jam wait till, a week or so before that when you've got kind of like max liquidity. So then you might see a little bit, last week or two before the season. But I agree. Doesn't mean there's not any, bites at the cherry still to go out there.
Yep. Charles in the chat. What do you? You know what? Before I get to Charles, we had a nice little comment on Twitter. Michael, SEC Michael Bratton. I've done his show a few times. Had a nice little thing for us to say. I don't know if you got that queued up, Mr. Producer, to pull up. I saw you guys were commenting. There we go. Boom. SEC Michael Bratton. Done his show a couple times. Really good guy.
You know what? I followed him. Appreciate that, Mike, for sure. I followed him for quite a while. I don't think I've ever, I know you've done with, I don't think I've ever interacted, but a guy, like a college football guy that I've followed for a long time. So he's been in the, what's his, because he does the SEC pod, and that's been around, I think he's been doing a long time, right? Like going back.
Oh, a decade. And the good thing with he's been on top of, he's always wanting the gamble. He's wanted the gambling perspective, even pre-legalization. So
okay.
He's been good on that. So we appreciate you and appreciate the kind words. And we do watch. I was just watching, because he's more entertainment. I was watching his post game of Tennessee, Ohio State, because I missed it live and went to the game. But I just happened to be watching that a couple days ago. It was quite funny.
He's good at firing folks up. We'll say that. He knows how to get the crowd stirred.
Dave's having a little drink too, live on the air. I got a kick out of that.
There you go.
If I was a Tennessee guy, I'd be having a drink too. After that one, Charles in the chat. What do you guys make of Air Force this season? 6 wins seems like a big ask for me. Could see a similar situation last year where they catch dead teams down the stretch, though. I played over 5.5. You know me, I'm Mr. Air Force. So we played it last year. We were dead. And then at the end, they looked pretty good. They got to figure out the quarterback situation. But I think this year's team is certainly better than last year's team. And last year's team was dead and still found a way to win 5 games. So I like them to win 6 this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I kind of lean that way. The old, it's interesting now. The academies were kind of the old reliable for a long time. And then Air Force is the one that after, Army and Navy go through their big transitions here where they're going to change the offense, they're going to modernize. And they seem to have I don't want to say, Navy, it took a little bit, struck gold a little bit with changing some of the scheme. Air Force is the one that was kind of ahead of those two for many years, playing at a higher level of football, seemed to be better than, and now things have, kind of the tables have turned, so to speak. And I'm not totally sure what the driver was there, where, you think, I don't know. Do you have any thought? What's kind of happened to the Air Force program? I don't
obviously
have a great theory.
We could do a whole podcast on this. I love talking about
I've got some theories. I don't have one that I know.
Yeah, Army eased up some of its restrictions. It was very tough for them to get bigger people in the Army, so they eased up. I mean, they have coaching stability there with Monken's just, as good as they've had in the last 40 years. So it helps. Yeah. That's what's helped Army. And plus, whenever they get a good quarterback like a Daly, any of the academies, they're just going to rise. That's going to be the cream of the crop there. Navy's kind of been meandering. They're always quarterback dependent. Their best teams have been Keenan Reynolds, Dobbs, Perry that one year. And now they got Horvath. So, yeah. And I think they're figuring, Niumatalolo had a thing, Johnson and Niumatalolo had it rolling. Then, at the end of Niumatalolo, there was confliction, I think, among the staff and the AD. I don't think they were all had that good symbiotic relationship there. I think they're building that back up. As far as Air Force, I think it was easier for Air Force to, as far as the three academies, you want to go to Service Academy. What do you want to do? I want to fly jets. So, come on. Do I want to be in the infantry or do I want to fly an airplane? So, I think if they had a natural advantage in that regard, I don't know. Colorado Springs is easier to recruit to, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Troy Calhoun loves it. I actually talked to him personally. I was super impressed with him. I just think, for the longest time, they had the most stability, easiest place to recruit to. So there was that. I still think they're fine. They're only 2 seasons removed from a 10-win season.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're dead yet. And I think Army's coming back to earth this year. So there's a hint there. I
remember that Air Force team from a few years ago that went into Michigan. And man, they gave Michigan all they could handle. That was a good Michigan team too. And that's kind of when Air Force was peaking at and so yeah, been a rough couple of years. But I agree. I like the over 5.5 play.
Also, the rules have been, all three of them have struggled. What do we do? Yeah. Army a couple of years ago, what do we throw it? And then we're man, we're just going to go back to running it. So, the rules have played with
they can't call us for this cut block every single play. Just do it again.
Yeah, just start dare them to call it. I think they're all three of them have kind of what do we do? And it's just I don't know, just keep doing what we've been doing. Guy asked, hey guys, what do you think about the Northwestern +7? Ooh, this will be some.
This is a good.
Northwestern +7 against Tulane. Tulane lost many, including the quarterback. A lot of people love them Wildcats who are live against Tulane. I'm not there as a power rating yet. What say you?
So this could be, Guy. It's early. This could be the first hit the books head-to-head on the season. We won't place it officially, but I did play some Northwestern. I think 7.5. I like it at 7 or better. I know one of my guys sent it to me at 7. So I'm in at 7.5. I agree. Now at 6. This is
it looks like consensus is 6.5. FanDuel is 6.5.
That's what we always preach on the show. Would I be? That's a key point, especially in a Northwestern game where you know the brand of football they want to play, Guy, and that's if they want to win this game or cover, it's going to be 2014 or something. So, I like it at 7 or better. I know most of the 7's dried up, but I know some other people on the show, a little riding the green wave, as you would say. So maybe the 7 comes back at some point. Don't buy 6.
I'm not riding it yet. It does scream Northwestern. I just was thinking we were going to get a better number. That's why I wanted to wait. But we didn't. You guys pounced. Kudos to you guys. Brendan in the chat, thoughts on Freeman shoving big game James in a locker once again. Yeah, talking about recruiting. Notre Dame beat Penn State, went 4 for 4 against them. When the reality was Penn State probably was 2 weeks ago looking to probably get 3 of the 4 guys.
Yeah,
Notre Dame beat them for all 4. So that's, I don't know what that is.
This is and a couple of those guys from Pennsylvania too. Yeah. In their backyard. Man, Notre Dame. I know people that aren't in the weeds with it, but man, they have things really sizzling on the recruiting trail right now.
I'm telling you, if CJ Carr can play like I think he can play, I'm feeling pretty good.
When they want, it seems like right now, when they want a guy, they're getting a guy. Outside of maybe, a handful of anything can happen in the top 20. Anybody can write a big check and blow you out of the water. But the guys that they really focus on,
they get them.
Yeah.
Quietly too. You don't hear figures or anything from. They got them locked up. So I like how they're handling business the last couple of years.
Yep.
I'm impressed. I know you have too. To impress a Michigan fan, that takes
because it was, like if you follow Notre Dame for the last 30 years, 25 of those years, it was
they were so mismanaged. They were the Lions, so mismanaged. I mean, what could go wrong will go wrong. I mean, whatever they're doing, do the opposite. I mean, it was just ridiculous. So I'm pleased as of right now. So yeah, I was surprised that they beat Penn State for all of them. In the weeds, but there was a press conference, and I tweet about it every now and then. I mean, James Franklin tried to big bro Marcus Freeman. How old are you now, Marcus? I mean, and they even said the players said they'd never seen Freeman that mad. So, I mean, he went and stole his running backs coach, who's like, some of it might be that. The best recruiter on Penn State staff was a running backs coach. He took him off the Penn State staff in the last 3 months. So, yeah, good stuff. Favorite G5 teams to cover week 1, Toledo and FAU interest me. I have a few, but they're like G5 versus G5 games. I don't want to talk about them yet because we do move lines here, and they're around key numbers, and I'm hoping to get that extra half point. But I will say, if there's a double-digit underdog that I think's live, Toledo would probably be, they'd be up there. I wouldn't be with everything that's going on in Kentucky right now. And I just deep dived Toledo a couple days ago. I mean, it's always, you got to worry about Jason Gano losing 2-3 games he has no business losing. But in a game like that against Kentucky, we saw him go down to SEC country last year and kill Mississippi State. I mean, that's going to be a tough one for Kentucky. I like Toledo in the game.
Yeah, it's fun. It's one of the, like, you think a MAC school, I always caution myself anytime a MAC, and again, Toledo seems to be, you put them in a little bit of a different category than most of the MAC because they actually tend to have, like somewhat of a higher level of talent base. But, your boy Mark Stoops, you seen him, at the pub at, 2 a.m, getting his, his Urban Meyer, moment there on that. So maybe he's not locked in. I know everybody the Kentucky fade is full on here. I'm interested to see, and again, I can't push back on it. I'm interested to see how bearish the market gets on Kentucky, but there's not a lot of pot. Now, is there some cases where, everybody rallies the troops and they're all against you and, they have kind of a throwback Stoops season? Maybe that's possible, but it just right now seems to be heading in a.
Right now, I don't think they have a quarterback.
Yeah, and that's tough to overcome. Even with,
are they going with Calzada? I mean, that's rough.
That's a struggle. But I mean, I don't know if the old Kentucky was like, we're going to run the ball. We somehow have an NFL running back. We're going to man ball you. We're going to defense. I don't know if they have that caliber of guy anymore.
No. They do have a lot back on the offensive line. So
that's where it's going to have to come from. If you're a Kentucky buyer, it's like, we're going to man ball and run the ball and play action and, play defense.
I will say the Toledo, I mean, that's the only way I could bet now, but I don't have some huge power ratings disparity. And that's usually what I'm betting this time of year. If I got something that I think's way off, I don't think the line's that far off in that.
Agreed.
Guy asked anywhere on the status of Carson Beck. Well, I mean, last I read, he's good to throw, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen him. Have you seen video of him really tossing around?
No, and Guy, that's one of those, like, no program is going to really give you the end, especially with something like that, unless you got somebody really in the know inside there, like an inside source. Publicly, they're just going to tell you everything's fine. And so you won't see it until fall camp. And if he's throwing in that, like, so that's one of those, I think they'll keep you won't know anything until fall camp, and then even when camp starts. Unless he's not throwing, then I think my guess would be he'll be good to go.
So we're getting closer to, I think it's important to know how to read a screen. I did find it interesting. A couple books went from 2.5 to Notre Dame 3 -115. So a couple books out there did get finally. We saw Miami money, and now we saw a couple nibbles on Notre Dame. So I might be agreeing with it when it's all said and done. Trevor in the chat, thought on Charlotte's season win total in week 1 versus App. Haven't bet either. Win total was very low, 2.5. Boy, the App State game. I don't like. I like the Charlotte higher. Auburn from Ohio did a tremendous job. Brought a couple guys with them. Didn't bring everybody with them though. A lot of guys stayed at Ohio, coaching staff and players. So I was expecting a little bit more as far as him bringing over Ohio's the staff and players. But I don't like the App State higher. Dowell Loggins from the Bears and the Jets OC with South Carolina. He's just not moving the needle for me. So, but again, that's another one that's around a key number. I want 10, and it's 8.5, 9, 9.5. I need 10 to bet Charlotte in that game. But I mean, generally speaking, that's one of those games. 2 first-year coaches, huge roster turnover for both. That's a wait and see kind of. I want to watch that game more than anything, and then figure out what I got for week 2.
Yep, I agree with you. This is like, I talked about a little last week. This is probably a good, money line round robin piece. Ton of roster turnover both sides, new coaches both sides, high variance game. One of the guys I talked to, presently about college football, he was more bullish on Charlotte. I thought your point nailed it there. Where like I was kind of expecting, and again, not that like Ohio had this like where we were going to plug and play, this elite team, but I did think they'd be able to. Those are my favorite G5 hires, whether FCS or not. Where like nowadays, like I'm bringing the coach, he's bringing the quarterback, he's bringing 8 guys on either side of the ball, and we're just going to start rolling, and then we can fill out recruiting and roster that. Didn't really get that, but I'm with you on the App State hire. App State, they are. I don't know what they have. It feels like they've let kind of I'm not going to call it elite, but like elite tier G5 programs start to descend away.
Agree. I don't understand it. And a lot of it, a couple bad hires. I think you should be able to attract a good hire there. They had 15,000 people for the spring game. 15,000 for a spring game. You can win there. I mean,
you can win there big time. Boone is lovely. That is
it is. I've been there. I loved it. I could recruit there. I'm just telling you. Beautiful. Guy asked, would you guys still bet Georgia Tech -3.5 versus Colorado? I can see it going to 6 or 7. I don't see it going to 6 or 7.
No, I don't think so.
Because I mean, Mr. Anti-Colorado would be betting Colorado at 7. I can't get that high. Speaking of anti-Colorado, we took under last week's show. I'm continuing to hear negative things about Coach Prime. Not sure how invested he is this year.
I'm surprised. I don't know if he didn't have I thought I would have bet he would have made his exit after last year. His son goes to the draft. Travis Hunter's out. I'm surprised. Maybe he didn't have the opportunity and he just took the contract extension because, hey, the money's on the table. I got to take it. But I thought the plan the entire time was to have that season, then make his way. But hey, maybe the job just wasn't there.
Drew in the chat's been a member for 9 months. Is the wide receiver loss of production too much for is it? Am I not reading that right?
No, you're reading it right. I'm not. Drew, retype it for us because I love it. Your long-term. Oh, is he thinking the Iowa State got Iowa State in his okay.
Iowa State.
Is he the wide receiver loss for Iowa State production?
Okay, gotcha. Boy, look at you. I mean, you're on top of it. You've been eating your Wheaties.
Yeah, new contract, new man.
I like the East Carolina kid they picked up. I haven't done anything with Iowa State's win total. It's 7.5. I think it's fair. That's pretty much where I'm at. Probably lean under, but I haven't done anything yet.
Yeah, I lean that way too. I will say, Drew, like, especially at Iowa State, you're never going to replicate what you had last year, from wide receiver production. I know they got a couple guys in that are all right. It's never going to be like it was. But you know what? I think they'll be in that same mix. It's kind of a cop out, but how many Big 12 teams am I going to say going to be in that, 6 to 8 win range that could make, 1 or 2 games go either way? You're right in the Big 12 title picture.
High value conversations with the super chat $4.99. Why is there not much made of the top 6 receivers that left Miami? Are they that loaded? He doesn't have the players that Cam had. They did a decent job in the portal, but I'm expecting the offense to take a step back this year. But the optimism is coming more on the defense side. New defense coordinator from Minnesota. They basically rebuilt their secondary via the portal. They got some studs up front, including Ruben Bain. Their offensive line is, top 10 in the country, in my opinion, if not maybe top 5. So there's some optimism there. So there's still a lot around Carson Beck. That they are not going to be a high-powered pass attack like they were a year ago.
Yeah, it's going to look different. And you know what? When you're making that kind of, it's almost like last year's Miami and this year's Miami needs a totally different, like, schematic strategy, game in, game out. Whereas you said this year with the O-line and what they're having on defense and the style that I think they're going to bring in now in defense, you'd be better served to kind of like slow the pace, run the football with Carson Beck, do play action, almost basically be Georgia light, what Carson Beck was used to at Georgia, where we're going to run the football. Will they do that? I don't know. It's a tough transition to make year over year. So probably a little bit more bearish on Miami than the market, but they got a lot of talent. I mean, listen, they got a lot of talent, so you can't discount that. And they play in a conference that, doesn't have a lot of teams that have a lot of talent.
Yeah, I mean, they're spending, the rest of the conference isn't. So that puts them ahead of a lot. But last I checked, you still have Mario Cristobal, capable of losing to anybody. So I was an early buyer in Miami, but at current market, I'm kind of wait and see. I want to see what Carson Beck looks like. Charles Saul in the chat and Dynasty Things, both about Florida State. Dynasty Things, Florida State over 7.5 wins. Wouldn't go there, man. You can find 6.5 across the board. So if you like Florida State, go over 6.5. Always shop. A win is 100 cents. Charles, Noel's dominating all the headlines today, good and bad. Yeah, Florida State's having a really good recruiting day. But the quarterback, I don't know if you saw this, had a nice little interview from On3, Thomas Castellanos from BC, the transfer. Boy, it was an open book talking about the Alabama game. Nick Saban's not there anymore. I don't think he's not there to save him, so they're not going to stop me. Some bulletin board material for that one. Basically, didn't like, he threw Bill O'Brien under the bus. So that was. Did you catch that? A little bit of that interview?
I did. I saw the snippets, so saw the headlines on that. I'm not totally there on Florida State this year. Castellanos, he kind of maybe in the right type of offense, but he's a guy who, like, his passing efficiency and it's kind of that is a guy who I just thought looked pretty, up and down. Not a guy who I think if you would want to be at that next level of Power 5, where Florida State wants to be, in that 7, 8, 9, 10 range. To me, he's not really that level of player. I think he was kind of a lower tier, Power 5 guy, along with the fact that, kind of the bottom fell out for them. I'm not as bullish on Florida State so yeah. Am I saying you go under at 6.5? No, but because they've got a few. They've got some layups. The non-conference, they got East Texas A&M, they got Kent State, and they've got some ACC teams that I'm not particularly strong on. I don't think Wake's very good. I don't think NC State's gonna be very good this year. They got Stanford, so they've got they got 5 or 6 games that I think they should handle. So it'll be right in there. Can they beat one of the better teams?
I'm a seller, but obviously number related. But I was an early seller. 7.5 under. Still good if you can find it. I think FanDuel is super juiced. Don't we love FanDuel? the great sponsor. I wouldn't bet the under 7.5. I think it's like minus 235. Don't bet that.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you to bet that, but I did bet against them in week 1. I think Alabama destroys them. So Tout Service gave out Alabama. Love the roll tide in that one. That line's been up all summer. I mean, that FanDuel, I think, posted that line in like January. Dynasty things, Hawaii, Arizona over 52. I'm not going to talk totals yet. It seems
it's a little in the weeds for early.
That's in the weeds, but when I don't comment on something, it might be a reason. Any indication on which direction that total is closing on the Auburn-Baylor game under 56.5? Not yet. Sometimes, you know what? I mean, this is going to be a total cop-out. Sometimes it's just weather dependent. Well, I mean, I don't know, 15, 20-mile-an-hour wind. Okay, I mean, it's going to close on less than that. It seems pretty good right now. Maybe lean over, but I'm not wild about betting a bunch of overs in week 1. That's not my cup of tea. The Fezzicks of the world will be betting unders on some of the bigger games. I wouldn't even meant to be a joke, but I mean that's the old school guys are betting that. Also, Steve in the chat was asking about Baylor in that game plus 2.5. I need 3 or more. Have you bet that game yet?
Yeah, I don't really have a strong take on that game, either side or total yet. I know there's some early Auburn love there. I would kind of lean or slight lean that way, but nothing on me either way.
I bet both over their win total. So I think that's a sneaky game under the radar. Maybe one. I mean, the winner of that game could be set up to make a run towards the playoffs. So that's a very good game on Friday night. That one and Georgia Tech, Colorado. That's good Friday night. I'll be glued to my seat. Max, thoughts on Nebraska over 7.5 wins? I know BP is a Dylan Raiola hater.
Oh, yeah.
Thoughts. Honestly, we've talked about, I think 7.5 is fair. Did you do anything yet with them?
You know, I agree with that. 7.5 is probably where it's at. I maybe have a few long shot Big Ten futures in pocket for Nebraska? Yes, I do. The schedule, I will say, sets up they do have at Penn State, but they've got a pretty soft non-con. And then, I guess it depends how much.
Michigan game is going to be big.
It's going to be real big. How much do you believe in Rule? They have spent some money. They got some guys in I liked. And you know what? I'm a Raiola truther. So I do think Nebraska has, 8, 9, potential 10 win this year with, outside shot at a big chunk. So I'm a buyer, but again, you got to have that minus 142 is a little rich for me.
Yeah. I like Michigan to beat them. Go blue. Egg, any playoff yes or no picks so far? Hey, did you see this? You're big on X. Did you see Matt Rule was in a weird pose? I mean, almost like the Billy Madison where, the old man, you could see he was in like Daisy Dukes with a weird pose. It was not something that I wanted to see on my Twitter timeline.
I did not see that, thankfully, and I'm not sure if I want to go looking for it.
Yeah, don't be looking for that. I'm sure unnamed producer will be now, but look at that. That is not
too late.
Yeah.
Yeah. The one with there's like a cow in the background.
Yeah, that's the one. Hopefully you didn't eat your lunch today because, it might be on the table now.
Go big. Hashtag GBR. There's a boombox, a cow, and I'm
okay with that. It's just the stance with shorts like that. Nobody wants to see that.
I don't know where. Yeah, this is yeah. I don't know what. There's a lot happening in this picture. I'll say that.
It's in a weight room too. How'd they get they got the cattle in the weight room?
They walked them right in.
Yeah. Huh. Wow. Again, any playoff yes or no picks so far? I took Bama and Notre Dame yes for both at open. Thought those are pretty cheap. Probably agree with that, but I was already an early buyer on Notre Dame and ND over their win totals, so I wasn't doubling back on that. I bet Clemson and I bet Boise. Those are the two that I bet yeses. I'll probably be betting no's though. But we also talked about this. That's the market I like. I'm going to be diving in and betting more during this season.
Yes.
When I think there's buy low or sell high spots, I'm going to be much more involved in that market during the season this year. I wasn't sure if they were going to keep it up this year during the season, but a few did. So what I'll be looking at is the big 50-50 type of games Like if I got a good inclination on like a Clemson LSU, maybe betting beforehand, or if I think it's a good buy low spot, the team looked really good. Maybe the team lost the game on a fluke play, but actually upgraded their power rating. Alabama, Georgia's an early September game. Bet the loser after that game to make the playoffs. So that's what I'm looking for to really bet that market. I'm waiting for the market to get more liquid. There's other books out there that haven't posted that yet. So once I have like 10 books and I can really shop, that's when I'll probably make 4 or 5 more bets too.
Yeah, I like your statement. I like that market more during the season, mid-season. I think a lot of your between the theoretical hold and just between a lot of your normal players that people want, the prices are pretty tight.
Yeah.
So it's not one that I usually get, or since we've for the last 2 years I've gotten too involved in preseason, but I do think there's buying opportunities during the year.
One I do like I treat it as an individual market because there's only one group of 5 team making it. That's the one that I'll probably have the most bets on preseason, trying to shop and get the best number there. I have bet Boise, but I'm expecting to bet probably 2 or 3 more G5 schools if I can find. Again, I'm waiting for like 10 books to open up and just find. There's gonna be one book that's it's painted 20-1 and they got 40-1 to make it. I'll do that. A little pull behind the curtain. Jacob C. How do you guys feel about the Vols Q's game? Normally feels like it'd be moving to 2 scores, but the quarterback uncertainty at Tennessee makes me wonder if it can move back some the other way. It originally moved like 3 points after the Nico news in the spring. I don't feel like betting it though. This Tennessee offense doesn't scream I want to lay it, but Syracuse has too much roster turnover for me.
Yeah, I know there's some people down on Cuse. I don't know if the Nico, I'm going to say that, I don't know if it's as disastrous as people made it out to be. So that's one. I haven't taken a position on this game yet. Normally, I'm kind of a Fran Brown. I do like what they're doing with I know Syracuse lost a ton, but man, I kind of like where that program was, like where they're heading a little bit. So I don't know if I'm ready to jump on the fade train there.
No, I'm waiting. And speaking of this, I do basketball at 69. Do you find yourself rarely betting 3, 3.5, 7, 7.5 once numbers are key for the favorite? I think it's much harder to pull the trigger. Yeah, I mean, at least at this point in the year, if it's around a key number, and I'm just hoping and waiting for that extra half point.
100%. I agree. Like, there's no, especially like game of year line, week 1 line, like there's no reason at this point to lay an extra half point unless you got word that it's going to, go up or there's something.
Yeah, unless it's already 3 points off. But that's, I can tell you there's like 5 week 1 games, and I think it's actually more. No, there's a few of them. I'm just waiting for a half point, whether it's dog or favorite, and I'm just waiting. Jack's he's loving Go Big Red. Raiola for the Heisman. Did you bet Raiola Heisman?
I did not. But Jack, the summer's still young. I'm not. You can't. I'm not saying I won't have a ticket before we start.
DT plus the points. Thoughts on Memphis team total 7.5 juice, but seems like a gift 8.5 plus 120 in a book we won't talk about. I originally bet Memphis under 8.5. Huge roster turnover. Lost their 4-year starting quarterback, Hennigan, who was like the career leader in everything. So I was originally pessimistic, but they did a good job in the portal. They have money, unlike a lot of G5 schools, because of the FedEx deal, NIL deal. There seems to be a lot of love for Memphis. I think the old boss picked them to win the conference. Old Phil Steele. So I'll be honest with you. I think 8.5 is the right number. So 7.5 over would be a go. If you can find it. That's where I'm at now.
Yeah, I just was gonna 7.5. I'd play over 8.5. I'd lean under. Silverfield. They did do a very nice job in the portal. I don't
like him either.
No, me neither. I don't. He's not one of those guys that screams, especially some of the big game letdowns they've had. But they seem to have kind of a very, a staple. The offense is in place. They kind of play a similar brand of football. The defense actually, showed some more life than in some seasons past. But I'm not too bullish either way on Memphis.
Connor says Colorado under 3.5 Big 12 wins plus money, particular place. Yeah, we won't mention that. I'll be looking at that after the show. So
Connor, the
can't
only
talk
thing I'll
about that
say
too
is,
much. We need FanDuel to post some stuff.
yeah, I just think I'm so invested on Colorado unders at this point. Do I really want to lay more on the conference? That would be my only take against it. But
I'm pretty invested. So also I'm fading them week 1 too. You got anything else? We need to get a best bet. Anything cross your mind? I mean, I got 100 bets, so you name something, I'll be like, yay or nay.
Let's see if what we got in the old chamber. I didn't come ready with one in the chamber this
All right,
week.
I got one. Let's go to
Fire
the
up.
ACC win totals. Let's see how much market influence our friend the tent had, because I have bet all 3 already. Let's see if he moved anything. So we'll go to ACC. Go to FanDuel win totals. ACC.
Yeah, I know where you're going.
Let's see where we're gonna go there. Let's see. What do we got? Ooh, looks like they're all pretty good. The one I like the most. Well, I like them all. No, that one got juiced pretty good. Man, they're all 3 good. Do you like one? I think Cal under 5.5.
Yeah, that was my favorite of the bunch.
All right. Cal under 5.5 minus 122. Boom, hit it. Boom, hit that best bet. There is a bunch of. I mean, I tweeted about this last week. I like, preseason magazines. You can't. Everyone has these high expectations for them. I mean, you gotta like. I'm not buying them for power ratings or for market influence. When I'm the Athlons of the world, I'm looking for those anonymous coaches comments.
Yeah.
And probably the most negative one out of all 136 was about Cal as a program and them becoming a dumpster fire. They got Ron Rivera behind the scenes of being the GM. He seems to be more in control of the program than Justin Wilcox. I like Justin Wilcox, the coach. The comment was he should just go be a DC somewhere and just lead the program. So it was super negative. I like Cal under 5.5.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't really understand the Ron Rivera thing. I don't think they have a lot of money in terms of what they're spending on football. And I don't know I don't know why Wilcox. I agree with that. I mean, maybe he's riding it out to the end. I don't know. They seem to have really kind of lost the identity that they had for quite a while under him. With the elite defense, all that, they try and find something on offense. It seems like, especially now that they're in the ACC, which is so stupid. You're making, I don't know, 6 different cross-country flights out there.
And man, that week, when you want to talk about the most important week 1 game.
Yeah.
We got Oregon, and Oregon State's the favorite in that game.
I know.
So that'd be a big one for us. Late night. You staying up for that one? I don't even. Now that I'm on the East Coast, I don't.
I know that's going to be wake up to winners hopefully for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and then they got Minnesota in the non-con too.
Yeah, Minnesota will beat them. I think.
Minnesota's I think so.
ACC's not going to be overwhelming, so I don't think it's an easy winner all of a sudden. But I do think there's some variance with if there's locker room issues. This could be a 3-9 football team. So. You lose guys like Jay Knott, who is like their heart and soul of their program. He says he's going to come back, and post spring, your All-American running back goes to Oklahoma. I mean, it's just not good.
Yeah, that's a real tough one because especially when you got a roster, you don't have guys like that all over. I mean, that was like their cowbell guy. We're going to run this guy into the ground, like that's our offense, and now he's out.
Yeah. Any closing thoughts? I thought it was a good show.
Yeah, no, Phil, getting the juices flowing. The chat was lively today, so yeah, good getting back in the routine, baby.
Trip, let's bring some politics before we close this off. Cal alumni spend all their money on funding activism, nothing left for football. What's Joey Lib think of that?
They're also, this is in the weeds too, their stadium, I think their stadium funding or refinancing was like the worst deal in the history of all time. Like what they paid and what they did to the loan they took out or something, which was like against football profits like for the next 30 years, like totally sunk the athletic department in terms of money. So yeah, they're broke. And it shows.
It's a beautiful stadium, though. I've been there.
Yeah.
Very nice. You know, it sits on a fault line, though. So if there's ever like a serious earthquake, I mean, it'll split apart. It's
That's
on
interesting.
literally on a fault line. So, but beautiful. I when I decide to retire here soon, I will go. That's a place I wouldn't mind watching a football game.
Yeah, now they're pouring in. Any thoughts on a peace in the Middle East or the NYC mayor?
No comment on that for me.
You doing the Mandini magic here? Is he gonna pull it out, man? Mandani over Kumo? I think my guy. I had some old tweets where I was like a Kumo truther during COVID. But I think too much establishment Cuomo. But the Mandani's got some juice.
Did you bet it? Yeah, is that market available?
It's on some of the prediction markets. I did not, but I know. Did you
some check of gas in the last couple of days? I thought it went up like when I checked on Sunday, it was up like 20 cents.
Yeah, yes.
Not good.
Also, this is in the weed. No, I won't even go with this. That's do with the weeds.
Yeah. Yeah. Hit the issues of political take show. I like it. Yeah, we could do that. We'll talk off the air. I think, some of it, I mean, I really want it to become more legal, the legalization. That's the next market is politics.
I'm surprised.
What's your thoughts on that? Are they ever going to legalize that? At least the presidential race?
I am surprised that because there's a wave of, this is kind of a macro, but like there's a wave of these now new prediction market books that are going to take liquidity on that type of stuff. And so if you're, the league, I think normal, probably like if you want to keep the business in house, if you're like a FanDuel in that, it's making those markets. It's a little tougher when you have to deal with state regulators to get
Obviously,
that.
There's so much. There could be so much corruption involved.
Yeah.
But I'm just talking to president. I mean, there's already corruption. Who cares? What's a little more? Let us bet on this stuff. Let us talk this stuff. I mean, it would be nice. It would be, it'd be good for the place like us. But it'd be good for everybody.
Yep.
All right. I got nothing else. Good show. With obviously with another under in your pocket. That's a bunch of unders for us. Cal under 5.5 wins. Let's call it minus 150 or less because I saw it move 20 cents on the screen. Did you see that? Move like 25 cents immediately. On our friends at FanDuel. So who says we don't move markets? So Cal under 5.5 wins. That'll do it for the show. I think we'll have just a regular show next week. I'm doing this on the fly. And then after that, you and I got some work to do as far as conference previews.
Yep.
I don't know if we'll do – I don't want to overwork you or the unnamed producer. So I think during July, we'll just do conference previews, 2-3 a week. We'll just record them, put them out whenever. That's what we'll do. And we'll be back to like live shows in August. That's the game.
That works. Yep.
All right. Talk to you guys next week, next Monday, same time, 5 o'clock. You just watch Hit the Books, part of the Hammer Betting Network, sponsored by FanDuel. That's it. See you next week.